And we are two totally different blokes. I'm a half cutter from the south of Adelaide. He's a private school boy from Melbourne. But it just clicked. And Daniel Craig said, I'd rather suck the pus out of an abscess.
And plenty of hostages. You held the Dangerfields hostage one day and to decide they
Yeah,
got...
Paddy's grandma.
Yeah.
She had gaffer tape over her mouth. I said, whoever wins it gives the other one $100,000. And I've got him down in the water and he comes up and he looks at me and goes, nah. I was like, fuck, I tried. He was an old school coach, which I don't think you can have anymore. 105 kilograms of fucking fairy floss. If I had a baseball bat, I'd take it to your fucking head right now.
All right, Dos, welcome to our new home in Adelaide, Matrix Studios. We're very lucky to be here. We've been here for the weekend, but there's a very important reason we did come down, not just gather around. We've got the King of Adelaide, TV legend, radio legend, Ryan Fitzgerald. Welcome to the dos&d show.
Dos&d, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
I thought you were going to say Fitzy.
I know. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I said, why don't I go with Fitzy? Yeah.
Just didn't sound right.
Everyone, even my wife calls me Fitzy. Mum and Dad call me Fitzy.
That's the last Ryan you'll get for the
Everyone
afternoon.
does. Yeah. Welcome to Adelaide.
You.
Obviously here around Gather Around as well. But
how's Gather Around for you as a local? It must be a bloody busy weekend.
Love it. Absolutely adore it. And I'm hoping I had a couple of... You always get a couple of cashies over there, you know. I had the Swans breakfast and caught up with Peter Malinowski, so we're pretty confident we're going to keep going with it. I don't think you can have it anywhere else. And the best thing, he's innovating and he's trying to make it better and better. So it's a great weekend. It's pumping.
Oh, it is.
The weather was shit over the weekend, but it was. The attendances were up and... so, yeah, it was a really good weekend.
Mate, we're actually quite interested. So we haven't spent a whole lot of time in Adelaide in our time, but we've been here a couple of times. But hearing you talk about your love of the city, I'd love to just you to take us back. Why are you so passionate about Adelaide? What is it about it? Because this is your home. You've lived obviously elsewhere and have had opportunity to move, but you keep coming back. So what is it about Adelaide?
I think, look, don't get me wrong. There was a moment there when I was younger where I wanted to get out of Adelaide. But I just adore it. Like it's as you get older and you have kids, it's a great childhood. I've spent 15 years doing radio in Sydney and obviously playing football there as well. But and Sydney's great. I love it. It's a beautiful part of the world, but it's just hectic. It's just so easy here. It's just beautiful and it's easy. And I know we cop it sometimes, but just sorry to rub this in, boys, but the median house price has just gone past Victoria. It has. South Australia, yeah. Adelaide has gone past Melbourne.
Wow.
I'm sorry to say that, which no one would have ever predicted ever.
But we're still talking about the Melbourne prices themselves. So.
I know, but they are going down a little bit at the moment. But it is, and when my boys came back here, they're 16 and 13, two boys, and it's just a great life. We don't see them now. They're out with their mates. They're on e-bikes. Committing crimes.
Lenny's still rocking the mullet? Or?
Yeah, no, Lenny's not. No, he's actually, he tinted his hair for a bit. But no, he's part of an e-bike gang now. Man, and he's out of control. Like he's...
Oh, what kind of dad are you in that situation? Because I'm not a fan of the e-bikes, but I understand they'd be fun for kids.
Well, I came home the other day and there would have been, I reckon, about 14 of them trying to pop it up on the street. And you can see all the adults just yelling at clouds going, what are they doing? Get off. A couple of them are having a bite back at adults now. So I've had to pull him into line. But it's hard, boys. It's really, but you know what? My mates always say to me, you cannot talk because you were the biggest prick of a kid growing up. So I've got to sit back and let him go a little bit.
Well, we're going to dissect a lot of your career over the next hour or so because there's plenty to discuss. We want to talk about TV. We want to talk about some of our favourite live crosses, which we're a big fan of. Big Brother, of course. We might even touch on the Recruit at some stage. But maybe more recent times, Fitzy Wippa and Kate as well. We'd love to just hear about the magic of the show because we just went down a rabbit hole for a long time watching some of your highlights on YouTube and you can get lost there for hours. What would you credit the success of the show to?
It's chemistry in radio is really hard to find. And when I started 21 years ago in Adelaide, I was lucky enough. Julian Schiller and Tony Moclair were on The Breakfast Show. I came in as the sports presenter and we just clicked. And those boys were they were comedy geniuses. They used to write their stuff. I used to watch them write skits, go in, record them, edit them, and I was like a sponge. And I knew straight away this was for me. And then Tony left the show. We were getting other people in. And chemistry was getting harder to find. The show was going really well. And then Nova said to me, "We want you to go to Sydney and do our national drive show." And it was Ryan, Monty, and Wippa at the time, but they were going to change it over. And they said to me, "Is there anyone that you want to do it with?" And Wippa was, I just thought he was a great storyteller, and I thought he was really funny. I was going on their show quite a bit as a regular. So I said I wouldn't mind doing it with him. And as soon as we had an audition together, something just clicked. And we are two totally different blokes. I'm a half cutter from the south of Adelaide. He's a private school boy from Melbourne. But it just clicked, and we made each other laugh. And to this day, he still does. Like he's very good at what he does. And we knew straight away that there was something there. Timing was just so perfect for us because Hamish and Andy were sort of finishing up in Drive when we went in there because they were so dominant. We were never going to knock them off. But we sort of came in at a great time, and we're doing Drive for 8 months. This is so funny. It was the greatest time of my life doing Drive because I'd done breakfast for so long, and getting up at 4 o'clock knocks you for 6. So we'd done it for 8 months, and I remember Nova pulled us in for this meeting, and they were like, "Boys, we've got some great news. We want you to do Sydney breakfast." And this is without a word of a lie. I just went, "No fucking way." I said, "I've just done it for 6.5 years in Adelaide, and I'm having the greatest time of my life doing Drive. I'm not going to do it." And Paul Jackson, our boss at the time, was like, "No, well, this is like, like Sydney breakfast is... This is one of the biggest showcase shows in Australia." I said, "I just don't want to do breakfast anymore." And I walked out of the meeting. And then a couple of days later, I get a phone call from a manager, and they're going, "Oh, they want you to do it, but they were going to give you this much money for it now." And I went, "No." I was like, "Gary, I don't want to do it. Like, I just don't want to go back into breakfast." And then a day later, I got another phone call. They said, "They want you to do it for this much." And I went, "Yeah, sweet. Let's do Sydney breakfast. We're back on."
Set the alarms. Oh,
So it's been amazing. And the addition of Kate Ritchie, I love Kate. I think she's one of the most gifted people in radio. When she talks about her days in Campbelltown and where she grew up and all that kind of stuff, she's magic. So it's going back into the Drive show, it's been a breath of fresh air. Yeah.
take us a little bit behind what actually goes on being the host of a radio show, because you're not just hosting the show, you got your own desk, you're coming up with ideas, you're meeting with probably sponsors, clients, everyone else.
Yeah.
But everyone only sees you, on air for those few hours.
Yes. Yeah, no, it is. It's content. It consumed me quite a bit for a while then. It stresses you out because I could not go to sleep without knowing that I had a certain amount of content for the show the next day. But now I've learned how to deal with that a lot better. But, it's I just know. I can see a story. I trawl all websites, and when I see something that I think is funny, I'm confident to go into a break. So then I give that to our executive producer, and Tommy Ivey will go, "I like this, I like that," and then he'll give you the rundown of the show. So you know what bits you have, and it's just worked. Like Whipper and I can do the show blindfolded now. And we've been lucky enough where I've been able to move back to Adelaide, and he's still in Sydney. But it just works. It is. But yeah, content is the bane of your existence because you're even like in public life, you're always looking around to see what you can find. And I know you just had Hughesy on recently.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a moment where something catastrophic happens in your life, but in your mind you're going, "This has got to be fucking great."
Write that down. Yeah. write it down.
So stuff like that is always, when it comes to you, it's quite exciting that you know that you can talk about it.
You've created many memorable moments on that show over so many years now. What are some ones that stick out to you in terms of maybe that you guys created this idea and it came to life and it was executed perfectly and it all worked?
Yeah, even though we don't do them anymore, and it cringes me to sort of go back and watch them, but I love doing the parodies back in the
Yes.
day. Like I really did. And for me, like doing a parody about the shit shoes that I had to wear to high school, or, a topical moment about finding a girl. And we also did one on Parramatta Road in Sydney, which is the worst road in Sydney, and we changed Copperhead Road to Parramatta Road. What people don't know, when I was doing Adelaide breakfast, I did Main North Road. That's where I first started it. So when I went to Sydney, I just went, I'm just going to change the lyrics and do Parramatta Road. But we used to write, record, and then go out and do a film clip, and you get a lot of satisfaction from that.
Yeah. I was singing these cookie jars all morning, the Guy
Well,
Sebastian one.
The great story behind that is that Guy Sebastian was coming in, and I'd written cookie jars to take the piss out of Wippa. And fucking Lupe Fiasco rocks up with Guy, and we had no idea. So as soon as he walked into the studio, I actually ran straight out of the studio while Wippa was talking to him, and I was trying to write a verse for Lupe Fiasco.
Wow.
And I got I reckon it would have been a couple of minutes. I got something out and I gave it to him. Best thing about Lupe Fiasco, he went away, took 20 minutes and he changed a few things and went in and recorded cookie jars. And that organic moment is just, when you're in radio, that's just that's creative heaven.
Yeah. And you've kind of got this flavour of jabbing each other, and it's just part of who you guys are too. Yeah.
Yes, banter. Yeah, banter is a big one.
Yeah.
When Paul Jackson, our big boss, came to Nova, that was the number one thing he said. He said, that you boys taking the piss out of each other, that's when you're at your best.
Yeah, and
so
sometimes
I've just
everyone
taken
else.
it to another.
I was just going to say, taking it too far yet, or?
Yeah, no. Look, I've been with Wippa for probably 15 years, and I apologise to Michael that there's been a fair few fat jokes in there along the way, and he has lost a lot of weight and he's in great nick, but he does understand that it's great content for the show.
Yes.
But he did marry your wife, Love and Air, too, didn't he? Did
Yeah. We've done some stupid shit. He married, that was a Big Brother experiment, and I had to sit in a room on George Street, Main Street in Sydney. And when people were going to work, I was in this glassed off room and I was in there for days. And I said, you bastard, I couldn't get out of there. So I'm sitting there the whole time. And then he rocked up with my wife and married my wife in front of me.
Again, makes great content.
And then they started maths straight after that.
Yeah,
So
exactly right. Exactly right.
You know?
Trailblazer. When you kind of look back, because you've now created, the pathway you've gone down is becoming maybe a bit more common now, to come out of, get a moment through television and then build this whole career. But did you ever expect it, like when you were a kid growing up outside of football, what was your kind of plan in life?
No, not at all. I loved the media. And it was, it came down to just, my mates and I that I grew up with, my core mates that I'm still very loyal with and still good mates with, we were just the entertainment at any house party. So we'd have a few drinks, and next thing you know, our big thing was we used to get up and do fake footy presentations at house parties and give out best players to anyone in the room. And anyone who's been part of a local footy club as well, guys, we've got a working bee this Sunday, so make sure you get there and help out. Subs who you haven't paid your rego, and there'd be some poor chick in the corner going, I don't know what you're talking about. So we would make people laugh, and crew would say to us, you boys need to be on radio or have your own show. And then I was lucky enough, actually, before I went on Big Brother, or before, I actually was a boundary rider for Triple M. I did a couple of games in Adelaide. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And I got into trouble a couple of times. I remember Wayne Carey took a hanger for the Crows, I reckon it was, and I said that he got up higher. He was higher than Robert Downey Jr. And Max Stevens from Triple M just absolutely tore me a new one. I thought,
really?
I've got to pull myself back a little bit here because, the footy's quite serious. But yeah, so I was doing a couple of boundary riding games for the AFL in Adelaide before I went on. That was just before I went on Big Brother.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So when I got out of Big Brother, Triple M were like, dude, this is awesome. Welcome to Triple M. And I was like, nah, I haven't signed any contract. And they're going, yeah, we got you to sign a contract, didn't we? And I was like, nah, you didn't. And I still remember it to this day, boys, is that when I got out, I had 2 meetings. My manager set up 2 meetings after Big Brother. One was with SAFM in Adelaide and Triple M, and one was with Nova. And the first one was with Craig Bruce. And Craig Bruce said, he said, we're not 100% sure if you've got it. And we're prepared to give you 2 weeks work experience on air, and then we'll make a decision after that. I said, okay, no worries. And then I went to Nova, and Dean Buchanan, who I just adore to this day, he was straight away. He had a 2-year contract.
Wow.
He said, mate, we want you straight on the breakfast show. We want you as a sports reporter. And then 3 weeks later, my name was in the show. Like, I was on the breakfast show. It's amazing.
Yeah. We're here in Adelaide for the huge interview with Fitzy. We're going to get right back into the episode in just a moment. But first, a word from our friends at CoinSpot.
CoinSpot, the best and easiest place to buy, sell, trade, everything cryptocurrency.
There's over 500 cryptocurrencies. You can buy your Bitcoin for as little as $1. Download the app today.
I might just go buy some Bitcoin just right now.
Yeah, good idea. Back to the episode with Fitzy.
Talk us through the Big Brother audition in itself, because I don't know if that's changed, if the audition process is different to reality TV now, but where does the idea come in your head to go, I'm going to bloody apply for this thing?
It was, I wanted to show my character. And so where I grew up, Port Nalunga, about 40 minutes south of Adelaide, it's like a sleepy coastal town. We used to jump off the jetty and we just used to run amok down there. So I just sort of showed, that lifestyle and what we would get up to. Then there was this one bit that I did it was my mum and dad just sort of saying how much they loved me. But it was like a hostage situation. So it was like dad going, he is the best kid that we've ever had. And the camera turns around and I'm holding up all the cue cards. So I think but what I did is I knew that they were looking for certain characters in the house. And I thought I'm going to go down the road of whatever I've put my mind to, I've failed. Right? So football. Failed. Love, every time I find a girlfriend, I can't hold on to her. Like, I've just failed in this area. My mates made up that group, the Massive Loser Squad. And I just said, I can't
Sounds like
win.
you were auditioning for The Voice.
Yeah, I know. I just can't win. And there was an add of humour in there as well. And then I just got a phone call. I remember I went back to South Adelaide Footy Club and I was playing down there and I got a phone call saying, we want you up on the Gold Coast. In a week's time, you're going up to go into the house. So I had to go in and see Robert Pyman, the coach of South Adelaide Panthers. And he was like, I would have been a few months away from playing, coming back from a knee reco. And he goes, mate, what do you want? You want to know where you're going to be playing and what your role's going to be when you're back? And I was like, no, I'm here to tell you that I'm retiring from football and I've got an opportunity to go on television. And he goes, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to play footy or do you want to? I said, well, footy's not working for me. And then that was it. Never played again.
Did you understand the enormity of it at the time? Because it sounds like you're going in there pretty confident rather than, hey, I'll be back in a few months.
I knew it was a big show. I knew Ben Williams, the guy who won the first one. Ben Williams was cousins with Steph and Carey, who played for the Sydney Swans. And Steph was a really good mate of mine. So when Ben came out of the house, we saw the hysteria around it. Mm-hmm. Him and Blair and what was going on. So I knew it was big, but I still didn't know to the extent of how big it was. Like, before you go into the house, they lock you in a hotel room for 3 days. You get to take one person with you, and I took my best mate, Sems, and they lock you in there. You're not allowed to watch television, so that's the promotion for the first show. So they lock you out of everything for 3 days before you go in, and you don't know how big it is.
Right.
So you're sitting in a hotel room, you're not allowed to leave, and they just hand you 3 meals a day, and you're freaking out, going, fuck, my life is about to change, and I don't know what's going on outside.
Are all the other contestants in other rooms?
They're all in other rooms.
Oh, that's so weird.
It was, yeah.
I know you don't have a mobile phone back then.
Nah.
So it's not like you're scrolling
It
TikTok.
was a major operation.
Yeah.
And the amount of money that went into it. This is why when Big Brother that you watch now, I'm glad it's back, and Mel Tresina's done an amazing job because it's sort of the core of Big Brother, but back then, the amount of fucking money that they were putting into that thing was ridiculous. Like, you'll never see that again.
Yeah, and for some people, watching or listening, they wouldn't understand. Like that was a 3-month. Like now it's 3 or 4 weeks, I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
Back then, 3 months of your life locked in this house, no contact from the outside world. Did you have to sign or ask what? Is there like 3 things you can request if something happens, like a death in the family or news that can?
No, there isn't. And they go through your suitcase and everything. You're not allowed to
Right.
have brands. That's why the MLS stuff, they just thought
Ah.
it was part of my persona. So they were like, oh, that's cute. We'll send it in there. What they didn't know is that my mates and I, we trademarked it before we went in. So they tried to sell the T-shirts, but they had to buy the T-shirts off my mates, which was the funniest thing about this is that when you come out of Big Brother, the first thing you do, you go on stage, hey, you've won a fucking Mitsubishi Lancer. There, thanks everyone, that's awesome. Then they take you into a room with a psychiatrist who just got to see what your mental space is like. And I sat down with this woman and she had a scrapbook of all the stuff that was going on. And she goes, okay, Ryan, the first thing I have to tell you, your friends are making a lot of money from those T-shirts. And I was like, this is awesome. I had no idea. But the other thing that scared me is I knew how fucking shit my mates were with money. And I thought, well, all that money's gone. But like it was like, this is like, it was so surreal. Some of the stuff that was going on was crazy. Like, the executive producer, Chris Noble, because they were making so much money, he was ringing my mum going, if we find out that if there's big blocks of voting for Ryan and you're using that money from the T-shirts to vote for him, we'll disqualify him.
Right.
Like they were threatening mum.
Wow.
Like I found out all this afterwards. It never bothered me because I honestly believed I couldn't win it.
Did you know the prize money going in?
No.
So
that was the secret.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they revealed the secret halfway through. So they told the crowd, as soon as we went in, they told the crowd $1 million is up for grabs. And then we got told probably a month or two later. It was about a month later. And then everyone's going, oh, is everyone going to change their game plan? I honestly, I knew I couldn't win it. I was an ex-AFL player. So I always thought that people would see that you've made money before and you've had the life already. So I knew that I couldn't win it.
Yeah,
but it was
$1 million. I mean, deal or no deal, they don't even give out more than 200 grand anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like,
do you know what the guy Trevor who won it? Right, I was mates with Trevor in the house, and I knew Trevor was going to win it because he was your everyday. And there was a moment in the pool because you're always wearing a microphone. The only time you have your microphone off is in the pool, and then there was mics around the pool. But there was a moment where there was only a couple of days left. It was going into the last weekend, and I pulled him aside in the pool, and I was making out. Had him in a headlock, and I actually said to him, I said, "Oi," I said, "whoever wins it gives the other one 100 grand." This is without a word of a lie, right? And I thought, well, like at least you're guaranteed.
Yeah.
If I win it, I'll give you 100 grand.
Yeah.
If you win it, you give me 100
Yeah.
grand. And I remember he comes up underwater. He could hear me. Then I got him down in the water, and he comes up and he looks at me and goes, "Nah." I was like, "Fuck!" I tried. I tried.
So, what about when you come out of the house? Those next few months, when you're almost like you're almost like a circus act, getting from nightclub to nightclub to bar to pubs and everywhere. What was that like?
I became an alcoholic. For 6 months, I travelled around Australia going to pub, and you're getting paid I was getting paid like $1,500 just to rock up at a pub for half an hour. So I was on
What
the
do you
piss.
do? Do you have to get up
So
on
you
stage?
get up, hey guys, and then you're signing stuff
Yep.
and you're talking to the crowd, but you're drinking piss the whole time. I could never, when I played AFL football, I could never get over 93 kilos. I ate so much because they wanted me to put on muscle. As soon as I got out of Big Brother, I hit 100 kilos for the first time in my life in 6 months because that's what I did. So you're just going all around Australia. The hysteria was crazy.
That's insane.
I've watched a lot of Geordie Shore growing up. That sounds very similar to that, because what would happen is, like, they'd send all these Geordie Shore people to Australia for schoolies or for all these,
Yep.
activations, and they would just pay them a shitload of money.
And give them free piss.
Yeah, and host all these young people,
It is. It's I got to a point where I was just really down on myself, because I've always been, I've always looked after myself. I said, what are you fucking doing? But I knew that this was my period. This was my timeline, that I had to do as much as I could, save as much money as I could.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Big Brother audition tape and holding the parents hostage. So some of our favourite memories growing up, we big before the game fans. And I said this to
Yes.
Hughesy and Limo and some of the other ones we've had on the show, Pete as well. And that was our bonding. The listeners are sick of telling this story, but yeah, the bonding experience in our family was before the game. But whenever there was a Fitzy live cross, it was always the time to tune in. And plenty of hostages. You held the Dangerfields hostage one day and to decide
Patty's grandma. Yeah. She had gaffer tape over her mouth. She was an actor, everyone. That wasn't Patty Dangerfield's actual grandmother.
I think you said it in that clip as well.
But those crosses, maybe talk us through some of the ones, because now obviously there's front bar too, and now you've transitioned that across too. And what are some of the ones that stand out to you over the years? Because my personal favourite is the Freo Phantom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would love to hear what some of yours are.
Oh, some of the grand final crosses have been the best. And getting supporters of who's in the grand final that year has always been so good. My favourite by an absolute mile was a one that we did a few years ago, or probably two years ago, and it was a Carlton one. It was at Ange Christou's restaurant. And there was Cooter was involved. God, who else was involved? Well, the greatest joke of all is that we had the whole restaurant was chockers, because everyone loves Ange and Cooter. Like Vinny Cotoggio was in there as well. But it was just a great cross. And at the end, I was like, I said to it, to throw back to the boys, I went, it's chockers down here at Ange's restaurant, and make sure you come down. The seafood is magnificent. I said, have a look at this. I said, even this old fella sitting at the table over here, you big Carlton fan? And it was David Parkin. And he said, mate, I'll get you an autograph afterwards. Back to you guys in the studio. That just, some of those crosses are so loose, and there's so many elements to it that they can be a disaster sometimes. But when it works, it's really rewarding. Yeah.
The Giant Twisty is my favourite. The GWS one and the Cat Empire with Air playing the theme song.
Angus, yeah. Not many people know that he was the one that came up with the GWS song.
Yeah.
Angus from the Cat Empire. So yeah, it's they have been loose over the years. Well, before the game, the grand final show, we used to go down to down where Collingwood train, and we'd do all the challenges. Remember, we'd have all the obstacles?
Yeah.
God, and it was a mess because it was the grand final. There'd be so many ex-players that would be doing corporates or getting paid. Like Wizard Kappa would rock up and he'd be blind. And you got to deal with this stuff on the fly.
Yeah. Are you getting paid, these guys? The cameo?
Yeah, they do. And that's why they do it.
Yeah.
But there's an element of, a lot of those guys just love being part of the show, like the front bar. And before the game, it had such a great reputation that they do. Like, we did one up at the first round. We did one up at the SCG with Charlie Curnow playing his first game. And he didn't even say anything. It was, the final joke was, there's a guy, look, there's people lining up for the game already. This is the night before. And I tap some guy on the shoulder. He turns around and it's Greg Williams. It's Diesel. I'm going, are you excited to see Charlie Curnow? And he turns around and goes, I've never heard of him. And I'm like, how good is that Diesel can out of his life can just rock up and do that for a minute of the show?
Well, how involved are you in the creative process of that? Are you writing that, or is that something that you come in and they've got, hey, this is the idea, and you just run with it on the fly, or is it very scripted? Or
I help, but they come up with some great. We've got some great Adie Brown and Adam Rowe, and we've got some great comedy writers on there. The two best comedy writers in Australia are Paul Collegia and Adam Rosenbachs.
Yeah.
And they're unsung heroes.
Yeah, never heard of.
No, but they are brilliant. So even the Gather Round one that we just did over the weekend. like the idea was because there's all this festival of footy, activations, what can we do for the kids? So then they'll write you a page full of, you should do, Wayne's mains, which is Wayne Wiedemann's haircuts. Come down here and you can get the Weeds mullet and stuff like that. Even the Crazy Horse one, which didn't work. The joke didn't work. So we had a little Shetland pony with crazy eyes on it. And the joke was supposed to be, what the hell is that? And my producer was there and he was supposed to say, you asked for a crazy horse. I said, no, that's where we were going to do the cross from. But they didn't hear it back in the studio. But those boys, they come up with so many ideas. So you pick and choose and you get involved yourself and you got to be confident and you think that you can deliver those jokes. But it's amazing. Like there's so many creatives on that show. You've got the two best creatives in Australia, and Mick Malloy and Sam Payne, and then Andy just brings. I think to me, Andy's the star of the show.
He's hilarious.
Well, you need someone that you can take the piss out of, and he's just so good at what he does. So the front bar for me, I see it as playing footy. It takes me back to playing football because you prepare for the game, which really is just you having dinner and taking the piss out of everyone. Then you play the game, you do the front bar, then you go back and have a beer afterwards back at the club and you talk about the game, about the front bar with the legends that you had on the show. And it is the greatest experience. Like I don't want to do television anymore. It just doesn't interest me anymore. But I've said to the front bar, I'm here for as long as you want me because I just adore it. Yeah.
It just looks fun.
When you talk about going back, having a beer and having a chat, do you do like an end of season footy trip with the lads?
Well, yeah, they have a Christmas party.
Do they?
I went to the Christmas. Usually at the end of the year, I've got something on here in Adelaide, so I've never really been. But I went to the end of the year, the Christmas party, and it's just brilliant. Like you get to see Mick and Sam really. Well, they let their hair down after most front bars anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just that is the footy trip. But the best thing is like you have Malcolm Blight. Like Malcolm Blight comes back, and the best thing about Blighty loves talking about Blighty, right?
We've heard.
But see, there's a lot of stuff that Blighty can't talk about on the show. But when you get a few beers into him after the show, oh my God! Like I've got this photo. Alex Carey's there, the Jarman brothers. And Blighty's talking, and and Pangy's there, and we're all sitting around him like little kids, like with our legs crossed, just listening to his stories. It's fucking amazing.
Well, what about in your footy career too? You played and were coached by some absolute legends in the game. I mean, you only played for a short time, but in that time, there's been some unbelievable names. We're talking Tony Lockett and some of the Swans boys, and short time at the Crows. Who were some of your mates at the time, and some of the legends you were lucky enough to run around with?
Yeah, I only had 4 years in the AFL, but still I was so lucky to have some amazing friendships that I still have to this day. Caught up with Mickey O'Loughlin over the weekend at Gather Round, and we went and saw our favourite Bad Dreams. They played their last gig here in Adelaide, and then Kirky rocks up. Brett Kirk rocks up.
What a strange trio.
So then after the show, I get the boys backstage to meet the Bad Dreams boys, and then 2 hours later, no one's talking to me. They're all picking Kirky's ear about, tell us about the Bloods culture and how'd you get it going? It was unbelievable. So, I've been lucky. I got drafted with Jude Bolton, lived with Jude Bolton, and Heath James is another very good friend of mine who I'm very close with. But you know what? You taste independence for the first time, and you go through experiences with those guys that you only do once in your life. And I love them so much. I'm really loyal to those boys, and we're still really, really close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a year with Plugger. But, I've met some amazing Plugger. I mean,
did he give you anything?
Nah.
Of course not.
Did he learn your name? Did he have
I've got one photo I've got a photo of when Plugger kicked his 1300.
Oh, yeah.
We went back to a bar in Sydney called Iguana Bar. And I'm there going, fuck, how am I here? This is unbelievable. This kid who's hardly played any games and I'm at the Iguana Bar, and we all got. It's the first time I saw Plugger let his hair down and get blind, and I thought this is my moment. Like he's got his confidence up. So I come in and someone had a camera and I said, look, if I'm going to go in, I'm just trying to get one photo. So I grab Plugger from behind and he's like, oh, what's going on? And then I start licking his ear and there's one photo of me licking his ear. I'm going, that's all I needed.
Oh.
Plugger and I, best mates. But he called me Brains because he said lack of. So I've seen him a couple of times since, and he still calls me Brains.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we did ask, and you did say off air, because you just missed a duck.
Yep.
But he's obviously an enigma. Everyone's got a duck story. Would love to know.
Oh, well,
any experience.
I've just missed a duck. I missed the duck by a year, and I remember when I was getting traded to Adelaide, John Reid was he was head of recruiting then. And he said, look, we really wanted you here, Fitzy. We've always been a big fan of you coming back to Adelaide. So then we started talking money. And he goes, fuck, mate, that's the only thing, though. We've got no money in the salary cap. So we're going to have to pay you bare minimum, which was like 55 grand base back then.
Right.
And then you got paid match payments if you were playing seniors. I was going back to my manager going, they've got to have more than $55,000. Nah, fuck, mate, we got nothing. Then at the end of that year, Carey comes over for $800,000. Fuck, you found the money pretty
just
quick.
in the back pocket. Yeah, just
So yeah, that
the
was the memories I had. Yeah, no, the duck. Yeah, no, I had a couple of years getting to know the duck. He's an interesting cat.
What was it like being coached under the great man Rocket Eade?
Yeah, that was interesting. And I've spoken about Rocket over the
We'd love
years.
to get Rocket on this show, actually.
Yeah.
Just hear about the sprays. Well,
he was an old school coach, which I don't think you can have anymore because now it's all about you've got to massage every personality in the team. Rocket, he didn't have the patience for that, and I like to make people laugh. So he didn't like that either. So we actually, the front bar, they haven't played it yet, but they actually found the press conference of when I kicked 5 on debut after my first game.
Oh.
And the reporters are saying to him, this young Fitzgerald, like, I mean, how excited are you about this kid? And he cannot say a good word about me.
You're kidding.
He's got a long way to go. He's got a lot to learn. He's very green. You know, he was basically saying that I fuck around quite a bit. And they were trying to get a positive word out of him, and he could not say it.
Really?
But that was just the way that he was. But, you know, like his big thing was, God, and imagine doing this now. Like when you had a bad loss, you would sit in the room afterwards and he would go through players that he would belittle players that he just thought had a shocking game.
Yeah.
And you'd be sitting there going, fuck, I wonder if he's going to go me. And you'd be so nervous. But just some of the stuff he would say was just like, oh, you know, the big one, and I've spoken about it before, but Stephen Carey, who I spoke about before, but 105 kilograms of fucking fairy floss. If I had a baseball bat, I'd take it to your fucking head right now. And there were moments in there where, like, it was the end of the world for that player, but then you could also hear other blokes going, and Matty Nix, there's talk that you want to go back to Adelaide. Fuck off. We don't want you.
Really?
Like, yeah, it was brutal.
Sounds like one of your classic sprays. You and Hughesy, when you used to do your sprays
Yeah,
at the footy. It literally
yeah.
sounds like
It's
he's taking the mickey.
That's probably where we got the idea from. How good were those sprays?
Oh,
the
great.
best.
Hughesy was so good at those.
Again, like we were saying to you, we only had him on a couple of weeks ago, and we were actually watching some of them back. It's hilarious.
It's
stuff.
brilliant, and the players love it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it's a roast. It's basically
We
a
watched
roast.
your one of the Swans, so you went at your mate Jude Bolden and
Yes.
Goodsy, and you didn't leave many.
Yeah.
You let Martin Pike know
that was
about it.
That was
Mike
the best
Pike.
one.
Do whatever a Canadian tourist does, climb the bridge and fuck off back home.
That's so clever. One thing that intrigued me though, so we're looking at your draft. So you picked number 4, but how old were you? 23 or 20?
Yeah, a bit
So
older.
was that because was that the first actual draft as it is now, or one of the?
Yeah, it was when you couldn't. I think it was before my draft. I think around 1996, 1997 was when like first year draftees could ask for what they wanted,
Okay.
and then a club would pay it. But this was a set wage,
Okay.
which they have now.
Yep.
So every first year draftee gets paid a set wage.
Yeah.
And then after that, your next contract is where you make money if you're good enough.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously in this day and age, the mature age drafts either come in the middle of the season or at the very end.
Yes.
Whereas, but to see them so high,
Yeah.
was that abnormal back then, or was?
Well, so I didn't mature till late, boys, and I it wasn't like I was a part. I played a little bit of junior football at South Adelaide in the SANFL, but I was never good enough, and I was very skinny, bit shit scared of the ball, and then or going to get the ball, and it wasn't until I was 18, so everyone's going to the national championships, and I was hopeless. I was playing at my local footy club, the Port Nalunga Cockle Divers. Couldn't get a kick, and then all of a sudden I grew about a foot in a year when I was 18, and that's when confidence started coming. So in 1997, we won the premiership at Port Nalunga in the A grade, and then I was asked to go out to South Adelaide and had a good year at South and got drafted the year after. So in 3 years, went from suburban footy to over to Sydney.
Wow.
What's it like being back at Port Nalunga Footy Club? And you've got a very big role this year.
Yes, yeah. No, well, that was one of the main reasons we wanted to come back home is that, that footy club was everything to me. Like it gave me so much in life. And when we were kids, it was our sanctuary, it was where mum and dad could drop you off and you could just hang out all day. And I love that life, love that team environment, being around mates. I think it's so good for kids to have that environment around them. So that was in Sydney was great, but like my boys weren't getting the same coaching, and you'd play your junior game and you go home straight away. You wouldn't watch anybody else, and you wouldn't stick around. There was no presentations that night, so I knew that my boys would love that life. So coming home was that was one of the main factors to coming home. But now I knew I was going to get involved with the club somehow. My old man coached me as a junior, so I said to myself, I'm never going to coach my boys, because it was a bit full on sometimes. But I knew I'd get involved with the club. I knew I'd be president one day, but I didn't think it was going to be this early. But I get a lot of satisfaction out of it. It's a great role.
Mate, it's awesome. So, I mean, we'll have to ask one question about the recruit.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry I passed that.
No. You didn't pass it at all.
I haven't spoken about the recruit for ages.
Oh, well,
it was a great idea.
Oh, it's that's
it's D's obsession.
You know how you asked me who do I follow? Well, I don't have a team, but maybe the recruit. That's my closest amount of passion for a football entity.
Do you know who won the first one?
Yeah, he's a follower of this show.
Johan Wagner?
Yeah.
Yes, Johan Wagner,
yes,
correct.
Adelaide boy?
Yes.
But we wanted to ask you about your experience on that show, because it would seem like it was a great idea, and, and you said you won awards for it, and Vossi was great, and you guys had a good little team there, and tell us about that experience.
Great idea. I think it was Eddie's production company that came up with it, and a mate of ours, Luke Cliff, was running it as well, and they asked me to host it, and I said yes straight away.
Did you think you were actually a contestant? Is that what you thought?
No, absolutely no chance. But you know what? I thought to myself, this is going to be hard, for a suburban footballer to play AFL football. It's a huge jump. But some of those boys were fucking great footballers. But what I do remember about the recruit, it was a lot of work. Like, it was like long days of filming. Like, these guys, it was like Big Brother. They were living in a house together. So the amount of money that they needed to have cameramen just hanging around, if something happened, some of the boys were sneaking out and getting on the piss.
Yeah.
So someone had to get woken up.
That was a big dramatic moment. Vossi called one of the boys into the office.
Yeah.
Did
he? Yeah. Get a cameraman to revolver. Like that was the shit that was going on. Which is what made it unique.
Yeah.
But like to do a show with Vossi was unbelievable, and to get to know Vossi, see what he's going through now, and seeing the stress that he's under. But he's just a great man. Like, it was a great experience for me. I love the recruit.
Take us behind the scenes of it. I mean, when you say the filming days, is it over like a couple month period, or
Yeah.
and you're living in Melbourne, or
Yep.
how does it work?
Well, these boys are pretty fit anyway, but it was also, I think it was filmed around their off season, so they had to try to stay fit. But you've got to try to get them to a point where they were good enough to go up against VFL players and stuff and knock those guys off. But these boys trained their ass off. Like there was, Mick Malthouse got involved for a while there as well, and these
Burjo,
guys.
another mate
Oh,
of ours.
Burjo.
Yeah, Darren Burgess.
Mhm.
Burjo was involved. Dicko was involved as well. But it was like all they just needed someone to play an AFL game and to show that it worked. And it could have gone to another level, but that was hard.
Yeah.
Was the idea from overseas?
I have no idea.
Was there another show like this overseas?
I wonder if there is a soccer version.
What
of
was the In Excess show you always talk about?
with JD Fortune.
I never actually saw the show. I don't know. I just brought it up to him.
Yeah.
I just remember the Fox 8 ads. Yeah, it was
Oh.
called.
Don't give me that.
Well,
Did you
they
watch
were
it?
looking
But it was.
for-
I know what it's called. Rock State in Excess. Yeah.
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 And
And they were looking
to
for a new
replace-
lead singer.
Imagine trying to replace Michael Hutchins.
My God.
Well, you're a music
Fortune-
man.
He did. Yeah, I love my music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did replace Michael Hutchins on the party
Yeah.
stakes, I suppose, but he just couldn't do the right thing. That was fascinating.
Well, maybe, briefly touch on your love of music, because like you said, you go out with the boys and some of your mates and actually go watch live acts, and it seems to be a passion of yours. So, tell us about some of your, what's your favourite genre and your love of music?
Yeah, I love punk music, and growing up down the south of Adelaide, we had a thriving music scene in the 90s. So there was a really good community of people that would go to punk bands, have a few drinks, and just get into the mosh pit. So we just loved it from an early age. And my mates and I, it's the one thing that has connected us over the years. We can always go interstate or have a trip away. It's our excuse to get away from the family sometimes, go and see a gig. And then luckily, 4 years ago, Port Noarlunga was struggling for money. We had brand new club rooms, but no money to put furniture in them. And I've got to know a few bands over the years, and Cosmic Psychos and Bad Dreams were two of them. And I said, would you boys help us out and just play for free so we can, raise some money? We had 1,500 people rock up.
Wow.
Made some good money for the club. And then we just said, let's continue this. And it's got bigger and bigger. So Nice Day to Go to the Club is a punk festival that we put on at the end of Feb every year. And we had just a bit over 3,000 people there this year. It's doing really well.
Wow.
Congrats. Well done.
You play instruments or anything?
No, fucking hopeless.
Have you
I'm
tried?
hopeless. After a few drinks, I'll get up on stage, but I just, I can't even watch this back because I hate the sound of my own voice. So I just sound like a dick.
Well, are your boys into the same music then? Because it's funny. We've talked about this often. We've got the exact same music taste because our dads liked a certain genre of music.
Yes.
Are the boys the same or
Not yet.
nah?
And you know what? I keep playing the music hoping. Every now and then their ears will prick up. They both got into AC/DC, and their first ever gig was I took them to go see AC/DC
That's a big
just
one.
to say that their first live gig was AC/DC. Huey was 6 months old. He was in a baby Bjorn, and he went to sleep until they played Thunderstruck. And everyone's like, Thunder! Poor kid. He was gone. And then Lenny was really young as well. And then I took Huey again and Lenny again. So they've seen AC/DC, and then I went, they really got into Midnight Oil. And Read About It is our favourite song.
Yep.
I took them down to Mona down in Tasmania to see Midnight Oil, and that was a great bonding weekend. But now they're off doing their own thing. My little one's into Tyler, the Creator, and Huey's he's all over the shop. There's a bit of dance music. There's a bit of grime rap in there as well. So I'm trying to get on their level.
I was going to say there's a rub off the opposite way. Sometimes
Yeah. I think they look at me and they're a bit embarrassed sometimes.
Well, that's what parenting's about.
Exactly. So I'm hoping later in life that they do get into that genre at some stage.
How is it now as they're becoming teenagers? Like this new stage of fatherhood for yourself. I'm sure it's it's e-bikes, but it's different to when they were kids.
Well, it's okay. So at the moment, before I got to this podcast today, There was a huge standoff at home. My wife found a couple of dirty Band-Aids down next to the lounge. Whose are these? Not mine. The other one, not mine. That was Lenny's. So massive blow up, and they both put their foot in the sand and went, nah, we're not picking it up. So we turned off all televisions, took phones off them, and there was a standoff for like an hour. Fucking whose Band-Aid was it? So then we had to go back over the last 3 days on whose mates were at the house. It could have been their Band-Aid.
The alibis.
And then I looked at my eldest and I said, Huey, do you know what you could do? You could just bite the bullet and just go, you know what? It was mine. Pick it up, put it in the bin. I'll give you your phone back. He couldn't do it.
Did you know he was a culprit?
So no, he swore it wasn't him,
Okay.
and he swore it wasn't him. So it must have been one of their mates, but none of them would pick up the Band-Aid. So this is what I'm going
Yeah, that's
through
a tough
with
stage.
teenagers at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bloody
Yes.
tough stage.
It is. There's a fair few hormones going through there. A bit of testosterone.
Yeah,
might
there
be
would be.
testosterone.
Yeah. Well, should we hit the stinger and head into
I think
on
it's
the
time.
spot?
Yeah. So this segment, Fitzy, is the hot seat, thanks to our friends at CoinSpot. CoinSpot is the best and easiest place to buy and sell all your cryptocurrency.
That's right. There's over 500 cryptocurrencies you can buy, trade, and sell on CoinSpot. And of course, you can buy Bitcoin for as little as $1 DOS. Now, do you want to explain the rules? I think Fitzy's been on hot seat. Did you ever?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I went on there.
How'd you go?
Actually, Wippa, the funny story, I didn't. What did I fuck up? A clavicle. What is a clavicle? Which was your collarbone.
Yeah.
And I fucked that up. And I've broken my clavicle before. But at least I got a couple of questions in. I think Wippa was first question. And his question was, what is a pecan? And he said it was an Amazon bird.
Well, this question might be a little bit easier for you, Fitz. I don't know. It might make you think a little bit. So here's a question for you. So what is your most memorable celebrity interview for Fitzy and Wippa? Is it A, Taylor Swift, B, Daniel Craig, C, Ed Sheeran, D, Justin Bieber, or E, other? Some big names there.
There's some great names there. Do you know what I love is that because I've been on air for so long, we got to interview some of these people before they became massive.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor Swift is a prime example. And with Taylor Swift,
Are we locking in A, Taylor Swift?
What's that?
Are we locking in A, Taylor Swift?
I'll say Taylor Swift.
Okay, we're locked in. Beautiful.
And that was also at a time where you could do stuff. Like
Yeah.
you could come up with an idea. And Wippa was engaged and was about to get married. So he said he was thinking about performing Love Story to his wife at the wedding. And he performed it in front of Taylor Swift. And that's had like 3 million views on YouTube. But she was just right into it. And at the time, you're like, oh, she was a great interview, Taylor. We'll see you in a year or so. And then that was it. You never see her again. It was like when the One Direction boys came in for the first time and the hysteria around those boys.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. And I still remember we met them at the reception of the Sydney Nova and they were 16, 17 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a receptionist there, Anna, who was lovely. And Anna was attractive. And Harry Styles as soon as he walked in, he was all over Anna. Like he was like, couldn't stop staring at her. And we picked it up straight away. And then after, we didn't do anything on air or we didn't talk about it or anything like that. But I think Anna was asked afterwards, would you like to go on a date or something like that? And she was going out with this douche at the time, but she was in a relationship and she said no to Harry Styles and then ended up bailing on the bloke a few months later anyway.
Oh, no.
So it's moments like that you look back, like you never get to speak to those guys again, but we were there at the start.
Is it hard? I mean, some people have told us, there's difference, like you've been generous enough to give us some of your time today and we can actually talk and share stories and reflect a little bit. But when you've got such a short period of time and you're trying to, I'm sure there's pressure from the station to get a sound bite that can be played or a viral moment. Yeah, what's that like?
The big thing that Wippa and I used to do is that we used to do a bit of research and find out what they were into, because when you go into a junket and you got 5 minutes, like, fuck, how are you supposed to connect in that amount of time? You can't. So, like, Will Ferrell was one that we found out was a huge LA Lakers fan. So I remember we went into one interview that was 5 minutes with Will Ferrell, and you could tell, you walk in and you can tell he's done 20 that day, doesn't want to do it. But we found out what the Lakers score was the day before
Right.
and about the game and who played well. So we walked in and you just instantly go, oh, fuck, how good was Kobe? Like, oh my God, 28 points and clutch at the end.
Yeah.
You've instantly got him. Because now he doesn't have to talk about the movie
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, oh, we've got a couple of boys here. And then he completely opens up. So we tried to find some way in before you actually start the interview.
Yeah.
Was there ever a celebrity that that the interview didn't go quite to plan, that you look back and go, oh, shit?
Well, Daniel Craig was the prime example. You brought Daniel Craig up, and Wippa interviewed him. He went in. I wasn't there for this, but he was just over talking about James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking over it. And like, what are you talking about? You are James Bond. You're getting probably paid an extra $5 million to promote the movie. But he hated talking about it. And Wippa started talking about the Bond, James Bond, and what was the process of that? Do you wait a second before you go from Bond to James Bond? And you could tell that he's like, nah. And Daniel Craig was like, nah, didn't think about it, just did it. And Whipper's trying to get more out of him. And you could tell he's just like, and then he asked Daniel Craig a question, would you rather this or would you rather that? And Daniel Craig said, I'd rather suck the pus out of an abscess. And then Wipper was sort of like, all right, Daniel Craig, thanks for joining. Just hated it.
Oh my gosh.
And you can tell straight away that if someone is not into it. Who was the other one? We had
That's horrible. Like
Star Trek, Chris Pine.
Okay.
Chris Pine and the guy that I don't even know the fucking actor's name. The guy that played Spock. Yeah,
Don't know.
Dr. Spock in the movie, right? They were so over the junket that they said to each other, let's play a game and get as many long words out as we can in an interview. So we're fucking interviewing these guys and it wasn't making any sense at all. And they're sniggering with each other, just like, so this little game that was going on.
between them, they were playing a
between
game.
them.
Yeah.
And it was weird. We got out and we finished it. But then with stuff like that, like you can, the good thing about that, if you actually pick it up afterwards and listen back to it, you can actually turn it around and you can promote it as two fuckwits coming up. Have a listen to these idiots.
That's so true.
These idiots who obviously had a bit of a challenge going on before they go into there, and then people stick around and they want to listen to what's going on. Sometimes bad interviews can be good promotion.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you ever been starstruck? Or been able to interview one of your childhood heroes, or
Yeah, for me, but it's usually music stars.
Yeah.
I remember when the Arctic Monkeys came onto the scene, they just blew me away.
Yeah.
And the first time they came to Australia, I got an interview with them at the Thedos&d Theatre here in SA, and I was like it was Jamie Cook and Alex Turner, and they were 17, 18 years of age. And I'm like late 20s, and I was just shaking.
really?
Going, yeah.
They seem like, because I'm actually a big Arctic Monkeys fan too, but they seem like they actually can be tough to interview.
Well, this was the other thing. I knew that they were tough to interview.
Yeah.
And that's what freaked me out even more. Plus, the worst thing was the mic wasn't. So we had 10 minutes with them, and for the first 3 minutes, I couldn't get the fucking mic working.
Oh.
So they're sitting there, they're reading the paper and checking out the soccer scores from over in the UK, just talking to each other, not even looking at me, and I'm going, this is fucked.
Oh.
Then I had a tech come in, he fixed it, and we went away. But yeah, that was probably my most nervous.
Oh,
Do we wanna,
yeah, I think you introduce.
Well, this is a good time for you, Fitzy, because you're not going home empty-handed. We're going to be sending you home with plenty of goodies, thanks to some of our goodie bag partners. So first of all, Milkman Australia, the #1 men's grooming product.
Right, yes.
Here's a little toiletry bag, mate, and it's full of a bunch of male grooming products. So you'll have some natural deodorant
Beautiful.
in there, probably some
I
hair
can share
powder.
that with the boys as well.
Yeah, that,
Oh,
actually,
the boys
that's
will
true.
like it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, Josh, do you like the natural deodorants?
Yeah, well, it's like it's no
of-
nasty. So the aerosol,
Yes.
I'm not a fan of the aerosol. That's the parfum.
Well, I think my youngster's been busted selling aftershave in high school.
Has he actually?
Yeah, he's right into it.
Wow.
So
At least
and
we know he's a
just,
hustler.
Just quickly, we're sponsored by Chemist Warehouse.
Yes.
On our show, on our radio show. So I met the head marketer of there, and I'm like, if you can get me cheap aftershave, my young fella's going to offload it at us.
Wholesale price. So
As
head
long as
to
you get kickback.
milkmanaustralia.com. Use the code dos&d for 20% off.
Absolutely. We love Milkman. Now, the other thing, we don't actually have it with us right now, but you do spend a bit of time in Melbourne. And one of our partners is Freddy's on Chapel Street, which is a beautiful pizzeria. And they've got a drink called Tommy's as well, which is a lovely spritz, isn't it, Dos?
Nice limoncello.
Limoncello. Now,
Spritz for the fits.
Spritz for the
There you
fits.
go.
There you go. There you go. Market that. What the boys are going to do for you and your family next time you're in Melbourne is they'll basically take you out for the whole night. Everything's on them. Wines, drinks, pizza, everything you want. They'll look after you, mate.
Right.
So we'll send over the voucher later. We couldn't bring the drinks on the flight. We couldn't bring the drinks on the flight.
I'm ringing him as soon as I leave this podcast studio. I'm ringing them.
Yeah.
Lock
Is
me
this
in.
legit?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just making up sponsors.
Fitzy who?
And then do you play a bit of golf? By any
Oh,
chance?
no. No, I look, I did a little bit. I've got to get back out in the golf course, but because of my knees and my shoulders,
true.
I haven't for a while. But
Well, you can
yes.
wear the golfing accessories.
Yes,
you know?
yeah, for
So
sure. I love a good
GCO,
polo.
Golf Clearance Outlet.
Yes.
The biggest brands for the lowest prices. You don't get anywhere else other than GCO. We've got you some golf balls, some golf accessories, a hat, some socks, some other little goodies in there
They've
too.
looked after you.
They've looked after you golf wise as
boys.
well. So
If take the boys to
Thank
driving
you,
range.
lads. I
Look,
get gifts. This is awesome.
yeah, there you go.
I was going to leave you a couple of gifts from South Australia.
and the
you know?
dos&d tote bag
And
as
the
well.
tote
It all
bag
gets
as
wrapped
well.
up too. But mate, it's just our little way of it makes it hard when we travel because we can't bring the
Where do we
goodie bag.
find GCO? By the
Oh,
way?
yeah. Golfclearanceoutlet.com for, like Dos said, the biggest brands at the lowest prices. And we'll throw a little ad in here because, unfortunately, because we're in Adelaide, Fitzy can't do the.
Yeah, we normally do a little chipping challenge.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
but
what about it, go?
you've been able to escape that, luckily, because
Yes.
there's been a couple of there's been a couple bigger egos we've had on the show that are quite disappointed with how they,
Who's gone the best?
Who's
Paul
Paul Connors
Connors?
is leading it at the
My
moment.
manager. Plays a lot of golf, obviously.
Yes.
Lloydie's dead last.
Well, he's got
Matthew
such
Lloyd.
a big stable now that he gets everyone else to look after him. He
Exactly.
plays golf
That's
all
it. Just
day.
plays golf. But yeah, Matthew Lloyd's dead last at the moment, so you probably would have had him covered if you could.
McElroy, Rory McElroy.
Matt-
He's dead. Jesus Christ.
Wouldn't mind him on the
If we had
show.
him covered.
McElroy's last.
We
He's
like
doing
giving it to
well.
Lloydie. But Fitzy, thank you so much for making this happen. We've been so excited for this interview. We really appreciate you giving us some time and reflecting on your career, mate. We're huge fans of yours. I'm sure most of the audience is too. And if they weren't, they are now. So we want to say a huge thank you.
Thank you, boys. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the dos&d show. We love your support. We appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed it. But we need to say thank you to Golf Clearance Outlet.
Yes, we do. Now, Dos, you've been playing a bit of golf lately,
I
and
have.
you guys would have seen us at the chipping challenge. Actually, roll that footage quickly. Just show a little bit of us chipping. There you go.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
I hope it's something good because I can't see anything right now, but I'm sure it'll be nice. I have been playing a little bit of golf.
Yes.
It's nice when you get invited to a couple of golf days
Yes.
because
Where the lunches are free.
lunches are free. It's a day off work, or not really, but
Yeah, we're networking.
it's always great networking. But I'm learning.
Yes.
I'm learning to play golf, but I still want to look the part. I still want to fit within my budget as well
Yes.
when I'm buying some of these new golf gear or equipment, apparel, and I went straight to GCO because they stock the biggest brands at the lowest prices.
That's a key point. I'm going to say it again. The biggest brands at the lowest prices. Just let that sink in. So if you're like Dawson, you kind of suddenly get into it, or if you're a bit like me and you can hit a ball or two,
Excuse
and
me?
you do, you want to upgrade your driver at a bargain price with all the biggest brands, GCO is the place to go. Now, there are 9 stores, as Dos mentioned, or you can shop online, golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. Find yourself a bargain today. Now, we're about halfway through now the Golf Clearance Outlet Chipping Challenge. Paul Connors is the clubhouse leader. Looking at the guests that are coming up for the rest of the year, do you see him getting overtaken just for a little bit of fun?
No, not really. I think
I think he's got a winning score.
well, they call him Jake. I think Jake is actually going to be sitting at the top. There's been a couple of little jabs at him because
or there's no surprise that he's at the top because he's a player agent and that's what they do best, play golf with their clients. So
Stay tuned.
I don't know. We'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. But guys, check out Golf Clearance Outlet, and thank you to those wonderful guys and the team there for helping us out.